Hello, friends. Today I'm going to share 5 life hacks that will make your modeling work easier, faster, and more efficient. These tips are tried and tested by me and will be helpful for both beginners and experienced modelers. Let's get started. And the first life hack: study the instructions before assembling the model. At first glance, it seems that the manufacturer's instructions are designed to simplify work. But in practice, it often happens that the manufacturer does not take into account certain nuances. For example, some elements need to be painted before assembly, as it will be difficult or impossible to get to them later. Parts may be arranged in such a way that it is more convenient to glue them in a different order than specified in the instructions. How to do it correctly? Read the instructions completely. Before you start working, go through the entire instruction. This will help to see the picture of the assembly as a whole. Understand which stages can affect others. Pay attention to complex assemblies. For example, the undercarriage of tanks, vehicle suspension, or multi-step assemblies of turrets and guns. These often require a different sequence than suggested in the instructions. Plan painting ahead of time. Some parts are better painted while they are still on the castings, such as wheels or the inside of the cab, and others after they are fully assembled. Use markers or notes. Highlight difficult areas in the instructions. Make notes directly on the sheet. This will simplify the process, especially if the assembly will take several days or weeks. Life hack number 2: skipping the assembly of small elements. Some parts in the model turn out to be completely invisible after assembly. For example, car and airplane engines that are hidden under the hood or trim. Car interiors, especially if the model will be standing with doors and windows closed. Small suspension components or internal mechanisms that are covered by other parts. The assembly and painting of such parts are time-consuming, and in the end, their presence does not affect the appearance of the model in any way. How to determine what can be skipped? Analyze the instructions. At the stage of studying the instructions, look at what elements will be hidden by other parts. For example, engines or internal mechanisms of the chassis. Do a dry assembly. Before gluing the assemblies together, assemble them without glue to see which parts will be inside and not visible. Ask yourself, is this really necessary? If the parts don't affect the model's appearance or stability in any way, you can safely skip them. How will this save time? Fewer parts means fewer assembly and painting steps. The freed up time can be spent on more important parts of the model, such as detailing the hull, cockpit, or painting the exterior. Case study. In car models, engines are often detailed with fine details. But if the hood doesn't open or you plan to glue it shut, it doesn't make sense to spend time assembling and painting the engine. Life hack number 3: gluing transparent elements on glossy varnish. Why it's important. Transparent parts such as windows, headlights, or dashboards are very easy to ruin with regular glue. Even a small amount of glue can leave muddy streaks, smudges, or marks that are almost impossible to remove. This can ruin the appearance of the entire model. Using gloss varnish instead of glue avoids these problems. The lacquer leaves no marks or streaks. It provides sufficient fixation for lightweight, transparent parts. It looks much neater and more natural. How to do it right? Prepare the parts. Before gluing, make sure the transparent elements are clean, free of dust and fingerprints. If necessary, wipe them with a soft cloth. Apply glossy varnish. Use a brush or a thin toothpick to gently apply a small layer of varnish, where the transparent piece will be attached. Secure the piece. Gently place the transparent piece in place and press down lightly. Remove excess lacquer with a damp brush or cotton bud. Allow to dry. Wait for the lacquer to dry completely. This usually takes a few hours, depending on the type of nail polish. This method is especially useful if you want to glue a transparent part onto a painted surface. Ordinary modeling glue will corrode the paint, and instead of a neat headlight or glass, you will get a smeared surface. That is why transparent elements are glued on varnish. Life hack number 4. A solution to the problem of removing the seam on rubber wheels. Why it's a problem. Rubber tires, which are often used in model cars, trucks, or military vehicles, have manufacturing seams, scrap, in the center of the tread. These seams can spoil the appearance of the model, but they are difficult to remove because of the elasticity of the material. Sandpaper doesn't do a good job because the rubber is too soft. A knife or scalpel slips, not removing the seam evenly. The solution: freezing the tires. Rubber becomes hard at low temperatures, making it easier to process. How to do it? Place tires in the freezer. Pack them in a bag to protect them from odors and moisture, and leave them in the freezer for 2 hours. Prepare your tools. Take a sharp scalpel, knife, or fine-grained sandpaper, 600 to 800. Work the seams. Take the tires out of the freezer and start machining right away. The rubber will be hard and the seam will be easily removed. Work quickly as the tires will begin to thaw. Finish the treatment. After removing the seam, wipe the tires with a soft cloth to remove any possible rubber residue. Tip: if the seam is still visible, you can lightly sand the surface of the tire with fine sandpaper after stripping to give it a realistic look. Life hack 5. Using painter's tape for smooth joints and protecting parts. Why it's important. When assembling and painting a model, there are often problems with even joints between parts, or paint getting on unwanted areas. Painter's tape is a simple but effective tool to help avoid these troubles. How to use for smooth joints during assembly. If you need to join parts that require a perfectly even seam, like an airplane fuselage or tank hull, use painter's tape to temporarily secure them. This will align the parts before gluing and avoid misalignment. For protection when painting, tape areas that do not need to be painted, such as glass elements or finished parts that have already been painted in a different color. To create intricate camouflage patterns, cut out the desired pattern from the tape, stick it on the model, and apply paint. After removing the tape, clear lines of the pattern will remain. For fixing small parts, if you need to glue or paint a small part, fix it with painter's tape on the work surface. This will prevent it from shifting. Case in point, when painting an airplane cockpit, you can carefully tape a glass skylight with painter's tape to protect it from paint and get perfectly even borders. Advantages: ease of use, minimal risk of damage to parts as the tape is easily peeled off. Ability to achieve a neat and professional result. That's it. Let me know if you agree with my life hacks and if the video was useful for you. Subscribe to the channel and put a like. It is not difficult for you, but by doing so, you will help me in the development of my channel. Thanks for watching and see you all soon.